Most of the people I meet don't really love getting up in the morning. And when they pitch up to work on a Monday, they're in a grump. And as the week's going by, they just can't wait for the weekend. And when it comes, it just passes too quickly. And then they're around the whole cycle again. And on top of all of this, they have 2 countdown timers on the go. 1, how long to my next holiday? And 2, how long till I retire? Sound familiar? Well, I think I have an idea. What if you could shift the way that you think to radically increase your expectation of what life could be like? Raising the bar from being trapped in the cookie-cutter way of life to living from unseen greatness and fulfillment that you didn't know was in reach. Some say it's possible, and I'd like to show you how. I am going to share with you 3 winning states of mind that recur time and time again in highly successful individuals and organizations. 3 ways in shifting the way you think to access your inner greatness and, crucially, your individuality and your originality. The you that makes you. After all, you are amazing. There's treasure in you. The fact that you're sitting here listening to this talk tells me that you don't want to settle for living inside the box. You want to go beyond yourself, and that makes you truly remarkable. But before I share with you this 3-digit combination log, I want to introduce you to the engine room of this life hack. I want to introduce you to an amazing enigma. You see, everyone has one, but few have learned to tap its unseen potential. With over 400 billion actions per second, it's more powerful than any supercomputer ever conceived. It has more connections than stars, and it has a signal transmission rate of over 260 miles an hour. I am talking about the space between your ears. I'm talking about your brain, and specifically, your mind. Why your mind? Well, it's the playground of your thought life. It's where your thoughts live. And pretty much everything, in some shape or form, began with a thought. Even the shoes on your feet, the phone in your pocket, the jewelry around your neck once began as a thought conceived in someone's mind before it became realized. Now, before in understanding the power in shifting the way you think, there's a couple of things you really want to know about thoughts. Number 1, thoughts are real. Everyone shout real. Just because you can't see a thought doesn't mean they're not real. For example, if I tell you whatever you do, do not think of a giant purple penguin with yellow spots, what just happened? You had a thought. And because your brain is neuroplastic, physical changes occur on a synaptic and dendritic and axonal level. In other words, when you have a thought, physical real estate is occupied or remodeled in your brain. And quite simply put, the more you have a thought, the stronger connections become. The less you have a thought, the weaker they become. Your ability to think is literally your ability to remodel and craft your own mind. So thoughts are real. Number 2, thoughts are powerful. Everyone shout powerful. Powerful. As the old proverb goes, as a man thinks in his own heart, so he is verified by cognitive science. We know that what you think and how you think affects how you perform, how you feel, and how you make decisions. In other words, what you think and how you think influences what you become. We know that negative thinking is associated with higher levels of depression, anxiety, and stress. Conversely, we know that positive thinking increases your serotonin levels, gives rise to your mood, and drops anxiety and stress. What's more is that 95% of all health conditions are connected to the neurotransmitter activity in your mind, meaning that what you think and how you think affects how you are physically. We know that simply by thinking about a physical movement, electrical activity and the associated muscles for that movement begin to fire, even without you moving one jot. We also know that what runs through your mind affects your physical performance. And you can try this one when you're at the gym. Knock out some reps thinking about lions, tigers, and power. Then try some reps thinking about sugar, kittens, and candy floss, you'll find that one helps you more than the other. And our decisions are influenced by how we think. The angle from which you think from can affect your affection for a choice. Let me put it this way. Let's say a company wants to pitch a product to you, and they put it this way. 95% of all our customers are truly satisfied. They love what they do, and they want more. Want to know more? They could pitch the same information to you, but from another angle, a loss frame perspective. They could say this to you. 5% of all our customers think what we do sucks. They hate what we do, and they want their money back. Want to buy in? The angle from which a frame is set up forces the way you think and affects your affection for an option. What's more is how you frame things to others around you affects your power to persuade. Thoughts are real and thoughts are powerful. And now you understand that, perhaps shifting the way you think is a pretty big deal. So now let me reveal to you the 3 winning mindsets that recur time and time again in highly successful individuals and organizations. 3 ways in shifting the way that you think to tap your inner greatness and your originality. And the first mind shift is this. Dream. Think creatively. How many of you know that kids seem to have a natural propensity to dream and create? It's why when they put on a cape, they believe they're a superhero. It's why the fridge door is filled with paintings and drawings. It's why at some point in your life, in the school playground, you believed that you were a cop or a robber or a Disney princess or Super Mario. And isn't it true that kids seem to be better at this than us adults? In fact, a child's brain has more synaptic connections than that of an adult brain. It appears that our minds were born to believe for the more, even the impossible. And Walt Disney said, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. And it's that mindset that begins greatness. Perhaps that's how Everest was conquered by the footsteps of man. Perhaps that's how the Wright brothers built a machine and taught us how to fly. And it's that mindset that has led to the internet in every single pocket here in this house. Steve Jobs said this, find what you love. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I think the secret ingredient to this mindset is. What is it that you love? What is it that you so desire to see happen and so desire to do? I'm not talking about what you were taught to love by some system or teacher or parent. I'm talking about what is it in you that houses dreams and creativity. To put the question another way, what is it that you cannot not do with your life? For some of you, it's launching a new idea. For others, it's starting a social enterprise or a charity or a movement. For others, it might be a sporting goal, a relationship goal, a spiritual goal. For others, it might be traveling. For others, it might be braving a mountain. For me, it's about bringing a message of life to other people that inspires and motivates others. But whatever it is for you, find it, because when you do, you've found fuel. And when you've got fuel, you're no longer motivated by the push, but you're drawn by the pull. Maybe getting up in the morning can be more fun. So how do we enter this way of thinking, this mind shift? Well, there's a little snag you need to know about. Quite simply put, your brain is involved in multiple functions all at the same time. Now, the hemispheric model of your brain would suggest that your left hemisphere is more focused with risk reduction and logic and reason. Your right brain more consumed with things like creativity, impulse, and ideas. On top of that, your frontal lobe, and specifically your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, is involved in impulse reduction and risk minimization. Whichever way you look at it, it boils down to one thing: an argument in your mind, an antagonistic thought process where, in the adult brain, for some reason, rationale seems to win out. But If you want to see your dreams bubble to the surface, you've got to shut down the voice of the critic. You've got to shut down the voice of reason that says, nah, that's not real. Well, by definition, an idea isn't real until it's allowed to become so. Can you practice creative thinking? Yes, you can. Some exercises include staring at the clouds and seeing what it is that you can see. Add variety to your life. Switch up your routines, your patterns, even your way to work. And a personal favorite of mine, grab hold of a random object and come up with as many novel uses as you can for it in a minute. It makes a great laugh in the coffee room. You were born to dream, and your creative mindset is within reach. Dream. What is it that you cannot not do with your life? Now you're starting to think differently. Mind shift number 2, visualize. We are visualizing beings. Our sense of vision is the last one to develop fully in utero, but arguably the most intricate and powerful of all our senses. We visualize all the time. In order to get to a destination, you have a picture of it in your mind before you get there. You did that before you came here. And you're doing that right now as you think about where you're going to next. But visualization comes with power. Let me illustrate. Say you book a holiday. You've seen it in the brochure. The golden sand, the sun, the sea. You've even virtually walked around your resort on Google Maps Street View. You can see it. But then things happen in your life that shift to come into alignment with that vision. You buy the sun cream. You get your hair cut. You buy some new clothes and you book time off work. People around you start to get excited. What's happening? Your circumstances are starting to adjust to give rise to that vision that you hold. What's the snag? How many of you know that we have a bent for the negative, focusing on the things that we do wrong, the mistakes we make, the embarrassing thing that we said today, and when people hurt us? We replay a tape of things naturally that are negative. And we've just learned that thoughts are real, and the more you think, the stronger those connections become. So how do we shift the way we think to enter a visualizing state of mind, that which top sportsmen and businessmen and entrepreneurs do? Well, you take your dream, that thing that you cannot not do in your life, and you visualize it. You saturate your mind in that which you know has to be done in your life. Maybe you write on your bathroom mirror, the person that you're looking at is ... and insert your dream. Maybe it's cuttings or pictures around your wall, so all that you see is that which you so desire. And when you replay that tape, you're replaying a better tape. And when you replay it so much, it's as if you create a memory of the future. Something I like to call a prospective memory. Take your dream and see it. When you see it, it becomes a reality that redefines you. And when it redefines you, you will see shifts occur in your life that fall into alignment with the birth of this dream that you visualize. Now you're starting to think differently. Mindset number 3, the claiming mindset. Arguably the hardest mindset of them all because of the intense focus and determination required to sustain that shifted way of thought. When we claim, we live as if it's already ours. Let me illustrate. You know when you go out from your house, the parcel comes to your door, but no one was in, so the slip comes through the post. When you get home, you grab the slip, and then you go to the depot. You go to the depot not to hope that you can attain a parcel that they will relinquish into your hands and say it's yours. You have a mindset that that parcel is already mine, and I'm simply pulling it into the now. There is a secret ingredient to this mindset, and I think Tony Robbins puts it best. Hunger. An emotional state of dissatisfaction and discomfort that will not lift until you see your dream become a reality. In the business world, the guesstimate for idea to reality is 10% idea, 45% hunger or passion, and 45% planning. So, how do we enter and sustain the claiming mindset? Well, I believe we have to feel. Be real. You're emotional beings. Your limbic brain has a part to play in that. The purposes of your heart are as deep waters, and you need insight to pull them out. In other words, we need to soften up inside, because there is no motion without emotion. You cannot move a mountain unless you yourself know what it is to be moved. For some of you, it's desperation. I know it was in my case, having grown up living in a family surrounded by mental illness, and my younger sib dying about 2 years ago. It drove me to a point of desperation I had not ever known before. It was as if I dropped to my knees and cried out aloud for wisdom and knowledge and understanding. But for some of you, it's not pain. It's not desperation. For some of you, it's a matter of inspiration. But whatever it is, find it, because when you do, you've got passion. And when you've got passion, you can sustain the claiming mindset. Do you know that the word passion comes from a word that means to suffer? It's where we get the word patient from, the one who suffers. And when you suffer, you will suffer through thick and thin to see your dream that you visualize to become a reality. What would it look like for someone to give up everything, to suffer through thick and thin for that which they love? When you have passion, you sustain your claiming mindset. And when the voice of reason rises up against you and says, it will never work, you will never give it up. Dream it. See it. Claim it. You know, Steve Jobs said, only the people crazy enough to think that they can change the world actually go ahead and do it. I can see how that makes sense. What would it look like if you dared to drill deep into yourself and discover what it was that you most desired? And not just individuals, but the desire of communities, schools, workforces, cities. What about the desire of the nations? You see, when you think differently, you see differently. I once heard someone say, when they were faced with an impossible situation, this isn't bad news, this is just a benchmark for a miracle. When you see differently, the impossible becomes possible. That which was set for tomorrow, you can pull into today. So I feel like I've started a story for you, and you can finish it. The purposes of your heart are unique. There is a U-shaped hole in the fabric of time and space that only you can fill. Is it possible to break the mold? Is it possible to see the more? Some say it is. So dream, visualize, and claim. Only you can do it. So go do it.